Hello. In this video, I will present to you items that can be so annoying that you might be evil for just using them. You'd probably have evil intentions clicking on that little icon. You'd likely also giggle to yourself knowing that someone would internally curse at you. You would choose to become the personification of
citizens of Dalaran.
And speaking of, we are looking for items with the same effect as the Dalaran portal. Yes, that one. I mean, I haven't played an off-spec since Wrath, basically. Oh my god! Mind you, some of these items have been nerfed, but most of them are still to a degree pretty annoying. And well... And well, you know, items can't of course be evil themselves. Although there are some where I suspect that might be the case, like the toy train. My god. Together with the dance grenade, it may be the most annoying thing you can do at an auction house. Or anywhere, really. The thought of packing up my PC and settling down on the platform of my local train station is less irritating than this noise. This thing is so hated that they made a counter toy just to save the ears of the poor people with in-game sound on. That says everything, doesn't it? And you may say, we'll just turn off in-game sounds, easily fixed. No, I like to have the sound on. It makes the game feel more immersive and alive. But when I hear that choo-choo sound, I wish I wasn't. No wooden toy train should make me feel that way. But I must admit that in some situations, it's pretty fun to use. Like, can you imagine putting this shit down in the middle of a boss fight? Like a proper 10-minute mythic boss. The raid leader is attempting to call out mechanics as a toy train blasts through even boss dialogue like, Jared, I know you're dazzled by Shara's tits, but I need you to move away with that debuff and get ready to perform some social distancing when, who the hell put that thing down? On top of the toy, they also had to nerf it to the ground. Now it's supposedly only party and raid members who will choo-choo along with you, but still, I found that even me choo-chooing was enough for people to get out their anti-train weaponry. I guess the solution is to have the train wrecker hotkeyed at all times. One item that also has a similar counter is the swap blaster. But if you don't have the antidote, or like me, didn't even know it really existed, you're gonna be a bit paranoid around other people. This is probably the only friendly item that can be used to kill players on your own faction. I remember raiding Hellfire Citadel in a guild, and how there's this little passage that leads to Solharak where you'd risk walking off the ledge yourself, as you utter only a tiny sigh, while you're raging inside as you approach the floor at a high velocity. The evil thing about this item is that whatever direction the swapper is looking in is the direction the swapped will run in. It's also just evil because, well, the intentions aren't really pure, you know exactly what you're doing. You could also be AFK during a break and suddenly come back to being very far away from the group. It feels like if everybody decided to treat you like the opposite sex does in dating apps. It's sort of perfect that the counter item to the swap blaster is called Neural Silencer. It saves your nervous system from a total breakdown. Now, back in these HFC days, I didn't have a swap blaster, but I did get revenge by using something else. The Savage Snowball. If you remember those, you will know just how annoying they could be. Basically, these snowballs, only found on Draenor, did one whole damage and could interrupt anyone hardstoning, teleporting, or eating food. Myself and a few friends would stock up on hundreds of snowballs, then typically wait until the pull timer for the boss came up. Then there would always be a few people who hadn't gotten their food buff yet, and with only like 15 seconds left, they could just get it in time. Well, until we blue balled them, and they were so confused to begin with. In voice chat, they would be kind of surprised that they didn't get the buff. Perhaps they moved too quickly, perhaps it was a bug. It was hilarious to us. We laughed so much, weaving in and out, hiding behind other players so it was harder to know who was doing it, and pull after pull, a few people would be missing their food buff. Don't get me wrong, it's so dumb, but it was funny nonetheless. It stopped being funny though when our raid leader got so pissed from the few missing food buffs that he rage quit, just left the raid group. I didn't quite see that one coming, but truth be told, I can see why someone else would get annoyed at that. But would I do the same today now that I have matured more and become an adult? Likely, at least just a few times. I am disappointed though, because in making this video, I learned that the snowball no longer interrupts anything, and now the name is a lie. F. Next up, we have another item that you throw, although this one annoys in a very different way. Okay, I want you to, for a brief moment, imagine you are a role player. Your character is a priest, one of society's gentle, calm, spiritual leaders, but today, you are a bit nervous. You've only been in your guild, the priesthood of Lakeshire, for a little while, and today is the big test for whether or not you can stay and become a fully licensed minister. You are going to administer a marriage ceremony, and yes, those do exist and happen. I think it's kinda cool. It's like Raid Finder mode for IRL marriage. However, I do wonder how they handle the divorces. How do they split the hundreds of pets? Who's gonna keep the love rocket? Is the family heirloom engagement ring now soulbound to the ex-partner? It sounds like a mess. But you can't be seduced by these negative thoughts. You are at the altar nervously performing the ceremony as your guildmaster, the Pope of Lakeshire, is judging you from the crowd. You are halfway through your beautiful speech, the couple looks on with tears in their eyes when suddenly a stranger comes in, repeatedly kicking a ball in your face, again and again and again. You're trying hard to keep going, but you just won't stop. You are simply looking silly at this point. You know it's not your fault, but you've been preparing for this day for so long, and yes, I write RP horror as well. The football might just be a tad bit annoying to most people, being spammed with the same sound and flashy animation, whatever, but for the role players, this has to be their hell. The next item on our list is the magic banana, and yes, I may be referring to the one I have with me at all times, cause it's always in my bag, and I keep it around because it's pretty hilarious. For some reason, the women always laugh at it. But this magic banana trips people, and I don't know why it's particularly magical. Isn't that what ordinary bananas are widely known to do? It is bigger though, so perhaps it's magical because it's the only phallic-shaped object that can fill up the entirety of Khadgar's butthole. Any item that in any way affects other players is great to be prepped with. I can imagine like the tank going in as the pull timer draws to an end. He charges in as the magic banana is thrown in his path. He slips and falls like he's in a goddamn 1940s comedy, stopping him for just enough time for the rogue to get aggro and get insta-killed. Your guild may hate you for that in the moment, but looking back, those are the memories they will thank you for. And if you guys actually go out and use these on your guild members, don't blame me for getting benched. Now we have an item that isn't directly annoying, but more so conjures up annoyment with yourself. You know when you get fooled, but you're too embarrassed to laugh, so you just kinda get irritated, mad at yourself for being foolish enough to fall for it. That tragically happened to me when a friend of mine, now ex-friend, used the coin of many faces and said that he had race changed from a Draenei to a Night Elf. And me being lazily suspicious, saying, really? But apparently didn't think of checking his buffs. Got a, yeah, I did it a few days ago. Well, okay, I'll go commit fall to my death because you've disappointed the Draenei in me so badly. Actually did it and then got the, you idiot, it's just a coin of many faces. And I had no excuse. I may not play WoW on a mega scale and typically only play it alone, but I couldn't find any valid excuses for me not being more critical in that moment, and I got irritated at the whole situation because apparently I am just that gullible. And that situation came crawling back in my head the next 4 showers, when there were no distractions to drown out the cringe. Now I present to you the Seafarer Slide Whistle. Here is Seafarer Slide Whistle by Dirty Dan. Well, oh my god. That might be the most annoying sound. Can you imagine being like 3 hours into a raid night and you have wiped over and over again on the same mechanics and the same boss? Your raid leader is pissed and he's telling the mechanics again and again and again, and one time the entire raid just starts spamming. Ah, beautiful. I also have one pet on this list, the very unique and infamous singing sunflower. When summoned, this pet sings. It's like having a portable Kids Bop singer in your stable. And well, if you spam this bad boy, you will get results. This creature is one of the few things in this video that is so annoying that you'll likely be forced to turn your sound effects off. And yes, I put a pet in a video talking about items, but that's because this thing, like a lifeless item, does not have a soul. You may be fooled to believe it does because of the amazing musicianship, but I can assure you there's nothing behind those beady little eyes. It's a facade. Don't look at it, don't listen to it, don't let it in. No, cover your ears. Don't stare it in the eyes. Ah, god damn it, lost him. You've been saved by the powers of the rainbow. The rainbow generator. Someone using this fancy toy on you makes it look like you're about to be sniped by a hitman Care Bear. It's probably one of the most mildly annoying items. It can be a bit of a distraction if there's multiple shooting across the area. I'm sure role players aren't too fond of it either, unless they use them to simulate Dragon Ball Z style RP battles, what do I know. And for the last item, we have the tickle totem. Stop that tickles, the description says, and basically the tickle totem is a lot like the toy train, but instead of making people go choo choo, it forces them to laugh by unwanted physical contact, and you get a few dozen restraining orders. Oh well, in the end, yes, these items may be very annoying, but I think that's one of the reasons some games are great. If there wasn't anything that annoys us, anything we could use to annoy our friends with, things we can all laugh at both in the current and in retrospect, it would probably be a bit more boring, lacking some flavor. So go out there and spice the game up for all of us, but don't be surprised if you don't make any friends doing it. But as WoW players, we're probably not too concerned with that anyway. And lastly, I just hope I have been like a tickle totem to you out there. See ya. Thank you for watching this video, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, whatever you do. Thank you for that, and also thank you to my patrons for keeping this shithouse afloat. Thank you so much, and well, I guess I'll see you next time, maybe, please. I don't know, man. See ya.